So today we're going to interview Hannah Moule. Hannah is the founder of the Rural Planning Company. So what we're going to start with is asking Hannah, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got to the point where you started the Rural Planning Co.
So I went to Harper Adams quite a long time ago now, and I did a course which was in Realm, which was land management. And I only did that course because my parents told me I couldn't do agriculture. So I did land management, and as it turns out, I quite enjoyed it. So after I finished Harper Adams, I worked locally at Worcester Livestock Market as a sort of trainee auctioneer and as a chartered surveyor, or as a trainee chartered surveyor. I qualified whilst I was there as a agricultural value and a chartered surveyor. Took all my exams and everything, so it was really pure luck that I'd enjoyed my Harper course, and then that had transposed into my job. So I was then sort of trained to be a rural chartered surveyor, which is sort of otherwise known as a land agent, but just doing general rural professional advice. I worked in the market as well, so got to know lots of farmers and sort of future clients. So after that, I did a couple of other jobs, and then I set up by myself, working for myself when I was about 27, so sort of 2010-ish. And at that time, all I wanted to do was just work for myself, just have a few clients, and that was enough for me. But then, of course, it sort of snowballed from there. And so initially we traded as Moule and Co, because that was my maiden name. And so very sort of interestingly, we just called it that. And so we just became Rural Practice Charter Surveyors, delivering rural professional advice for a range of landowner and farmer clients. And then the planning work just started to build, and so all the way through running that business, we were doing more and more planning work, to the point at which it was almost 80% or 90% of what we were doing anyway. And then during COVID, it gave us the opportunity to sort of really sit down and think about where our business is going and so on. And so at that point, we decided to purely specialise in planning, and we rebranded to become the Rural Planning Co. And so now we have been in existence as the Rural Planning Co for about the last 4 or 5 years.
Brilliant. Was it a good move in hindsight?
A brilliant move in hindsight. I think interestingly, a little bit boringly, but the sort of the day of the general practice charter surveyor land agent, I think that was sort of coming to an end anyway, because most businesses, as in they are in legal and in this, everybody has to specialise in something, that general practice person was becoming quite few and far between. And I don't think, in all honesty, that general practice person can always deliver the right advice for clients, because it used to be, if you take planning as the example, that anybody could just knock up a 28-day notice for an agricultural shed. But now the rules and the permitted development, everything is so complicated. Like, I do it day in, day out, and still there's stuff that I don't know, and how a general practice person would know some of that detail, I don't know. And so actually I think, as it turns out, from a business point of view, our business was changing anyway, so we needed to change. From things like a marketing perspective, it is much easier to be one thing, good at one thing.
Yeah.
And then actually I enjoy being really good at what we do. So rather than being that general practice person, I really enjoy specialising and being really good at one thing. So and it's been good for business. We've grown as a business, and yes, I think I just enjoy that sort of higher level or greater level of knowledge in one area.
Brilliant.